this is a wondrous example of how I think people should sometimes set up their desks. There will be a series of videos on this channel in the future. I've been inspired by people sending in their desk setups to other reviewers, and they're like, oh, look at this cool desk setup, look at this cool desk setup. Well, I want cool desk setups too. Not that I'm going to review them, but I want to generate them. Because I have the abilities. Well, I have just tons of stuff that I could create different desk setups, and this might be like one of the bases for it. Vertical monitors aside, let's talk about 2.1s. Let's talk about desktop 2.1. So here we are. iLoud MTMs, $700 pair, and their biggest flaw was that when you tried to put the low end on, bad things happened. Like they could do it, but you had to keep it low, like real low, like low. And that sucks. But, you know, but they're so good. So how did Zeos, how do I fit there? That and one of these. Well, specifically the 8-inch. This is actually the review, if you read the title, which I imagine you did, of the Kanto Subs. The Sub6 and the Sub8. And I'm going to yank them off the floor and pull them up here. I just wanted to give you like the brief overrun of what's going on right now. At this very moment, on this very desk, starting with the Mini DSP HD, which everyone underestimates, and I keep people are like, hey, I want a 2.1 for my desk, and I'm just like, start by spending $200 on this, and then don't worry about it, just fill in the gaps after that. Because what's happening here, I mean, there we go. Mini DSP HD, fiber optic input, infrared input. Now this is my Vizio remote from my television over there that I'm not using. It'll use any remote control, and you have to use a remote, unfortunately, to control the volume because there's no knob on this. And I'm not plugged in USB because the laptop I use to program it is in the other apartment, and then you'd install the software on that and you'd tell it what to do. And I'll explain real quick. This Mini DSP, what a Mini DSP, Zeos. I've never seen your channel before. I have no idea about audio. What does this box do? Everything. I'm gonna get to the subwoofers. They have some flaws. They have some nice quirks, some bad quirks. But first you have to understand what's going on here. Computer is that laptop. There's fiber optic coming out of it. This is my audio signal. I have programmed this. You can program this. If that sounds like a scary word, it's not. It literally just means I could say, you are the left channel, you are the right channel. These are running directly to these iLoud micros. And then I have two wires here, but you only need one. You're the 6-inch sub and you're the 8-inch sub. And thanks to the magic of infrared, I can select to hit number 3, which is just on, which I set to have only the speakers play, with nothing below 42 hertz, because I figured out with these speakers, by the way, going back to the review of them, if I don't send any signal from 42 hertz and below to these speakers, they basically don't distort. Sounds good. We'll send all that signal to a subwoofer. So if I am playing music, which I don't want to get copyright blocked, but if I hit that, we now switch, or this switches. And now that little 6-inch sub, the one on top, this one, here. The one we're actually reviewing. I hope to Christ the plugs reach. Oh, I didn't calculate that out, did I? Zeos is fine. Zeos will cope. Can we look at this subwoofer for a second? Because it's gorgeous. You know what? I gotta bring up the pages. Look at all those wallpapers. Don't you wish you had all those wallpapers? Kanto Sub6. I wonder if it's on Amazon. Let's see, hold on. Boop. It is. I'm seeing it used. Where's new? New. $289 for the big one. $209 for the little one. $219. What am I seeing here? I don't know. Let's. $249. They want $250 for this. If you can't tell by my groan, that's a little high for what it can do. I'll say this. It is one of the smallest subs I've ever been in possession of. By the way, she's doing the sub crawl. If you don't know about the sub crawl, there's a whole video I did on the sub crawl, which is where if that is where you want to sit to listen to music, what you would do is you get extension cords, which this won't be long enough, but you'd put this subwoofer here. It doesn't matter how. You don't have to have a chair. You can take the chair away. Use a speaker stand, a pile of books, tell your sister to hold it, something. Put the sub here and have it play music you know. Turn it up and then crawl around like she's crawling around on all fours all around your room into the nooks and crannies and cubbies and any place you can possibly put the subwoofer. And wherever that subwoofer sounds the best, even though the subwoofer's floating up here, if you go into that corner and that's where it sounds best, that's where you put this, and then the sound here will be as good as the sound was there when your head was there. It's weird, but it's the only way they can calculate how bass modes react with the curves of the room, and the room's got this outcrop and it can't possibly calculate it. It's like throwing a rock in a pond and then the ripples go out and then the ripples hit the walls and come back in. Only you're throwing a million rocks at the outside of the lake and seeing where they converge in the center. That was a terrible analogy. Let's keep going. Anyway, subcrawl she's doing, subcrawl you can do, and that would improve the scenario here quite a bit. I'm okay with the 6-inch sub. I'm not blown away by it. Then again, I've also, like, the latest reviews have been like a 15-inch Klipsch, and we had those $1,000 a piece SVS at Rocky Mountain. And the 8-inch exists. Like, if I only got this, maybe I would give it a little bit more leeway, but the price difference is so small. So here, let me go to the Kanto site now. Okay. I see your 6 for $250. I don't want your tuck. I did your tuck. Tucks are great. It's $289 for... It's $30 difference. The problem here is that this is $250 and not $200 or $175 or $150. And then this, which is a bigger, slightly bigger... Hold on. That's real close. That slightly bigger subwoofer is only $30 more. And it does real sub things. Real sub things. The little 6-inch, which by the way, hold on. Let's pull up a chair for the 8. That is a sexy thing. And I think if you did the sub crawl and you found the perfect spot, it would be acceptable for a minuscule room. Minuscule. Because here's the thing. When people tell me they got a desk setup and they're trying to buy a subwoofer for the desk setup, I'm like, great. How big's your room? But they're like, no, but I'm putting the subwoofer on my desk. No, you're not putting the subwoofer on your desk or under your desk. You're putting bass in the room. This room requires a certain level of subwoofer. Doesn't matter if I want to use it on a desk or in a home theater. It's how much air can this displace for all of this volume? Because unlike a speaker, which you're sitting in front of it and it's a distance-based thing, this just goes somewhere. And by the way, both of these are sealed subs. Now, what that means is there's no holes. There's no hole here, the back, there's no hole there. You can't even look at the driver. This metal grill is got like a fabric behind it, so it's just black. Which is fine, because these are some of the sexiest looking subs. But when you seal a sub, you remove its ability to go real low. It's a trade-off. The subwoofers we put in Rocky Mountain were sealed SVS. That means we couldn't possibly get to the lowest of low notes. I didn't care, because music doesn't really care. Only very specific genres of music need like 18 hertz. Usually you can get away with like 25. For like just like a kick drum, like a real hard, fast. Sealed subwoofers are better for music because they're faster. Because there's a volume of air in there, and that volume of air is holding that driver right in place. If you push, if it was unplugged and you just pushed it in, it would come back out. Because you're trying to compress the air. Or if you're trying to pull it out, it would get sucked back in. It makes the speaker harder to move from the resting position, which means when it gets signal and it tries to move in and out, it's faster. It's being actually helped by the air pressure inside, trying to push it back to the 0 point. Very musical sealed subs, usually. Problem is, that means when you go to put like 12 hertz into it, it doesn't have the port to make that happen. It's just whatever. Now you could have those sort of frequencies on a sealed sub if you've got like 2,000 watts. The SVS or the Dayton Ultimax that I built, that shit was insane, but you had to like burn a church down to make it move. So both of these are sealed. Now, that should mean they're better for music. But we're back to that same, this is not a 4,000 watt sub. So it's a little underpowered. I spent a good deal of time tweaking the mini DSP's output to try to find the happy places for these subs. Not only was I able to cut off frequencies from these speakers and send them down to this, I was also able to cut down the low frequencies from these and say, don't try to play 12 hertz. There isn't much in my music library for 12 hertz, but if there was, don't try to play it. And I've managed to craft a decent like EQ, response curve, and compression to make these sort of blend with the MTMs. Which, by the way, this whole setup, again, FLIRC, which is a little infrared controller up there, which you install a software, and it's like, media keys, next track, this. Now, that's Beastie Boys. She's on it. And there's bass, but there's not sub bass. The way I have this set up currently, this is only getting 42 hertz and below. That's low. But I don't want to take away from the speakers. One of the beauties of the mini DSP is you get to craft everything to be exactly the way you like it. So these are $700 speakers. I don't want to take away 50 hertz and 60 hertz and 70 hertz from them. They're going to do it better than any subwoofer in the room or the fucking state. So I'm trying to keep the sub doing only sub things, which means that music like this, music that has like a kick, but not like a kick drum, you may not even notice the sub. Now I'm going to switch to my playlist that I have called Best Bass. And I'm just going to put on a random track. Now the sub makes the go. This is a Juno Reactor, Mind of the Free. And it's literally just the opening is just bass doing bass things. But it's still keeping most of the sounds coming from here. I'm like, just make the whole desk is vibrating. But it's just coming from here because 42 hertz and below go to this. The problem is, if you're not going to get a mini DSP HD, like I have there and linked in the description, and you should have one for 2.1 with any sort of powered monitors or pre-outing for it, which, by the way, you'd have to still have remote control for all this. The problem is that these subwoofer controls in the back, which we'll flip this up right now, are lame. They're some of the lamest. And I don't mean that in a terrible... I mean, here's your options. You got a plug, you got a power, you get sub in, and I'm using just the left channel. I would normally recommend a splitter. They're all in Tennessee because DMS had them for RMAF. So if you'd like to click the link in the description, you'll see it just takes, it's a female RCA to go for your plug and go into both of these. Now, if you have a mini DSP HD and you only got one sub, you could just use both outputs, set them to mono in the software, and then it'll be fine. But I've always found that even though like one might be labeled LFE or something, if you put both inputs with the same signal, you get a little bit more out of it, and that would be required. Because we are maxed level here, crossover frequency all the way down, which I shouldn't have to do. Here's where it gets icky. Here's where these subs sort of show they're like, ooh, why? Max level's fine. I have it controlled on there. I think I'm at 0 or like -4 decibels compared to the speakers. But the speakers have individual volume, so I can't complain. The crossover frequency. When you set the crossover frequency on a subwoofer like this, whatever signal's coming in, even if it's full range, if I just took an MP3 player or a portable media player or an old iPod, and I plugged a 3.5mm RCA, which is full signal, and I plugged it into there, I should be able to hear vocals at like 150 or 120 is what this is here, and then turn it down and I'll start cutting off frequencies down to 80, down to 60, and down there is 40. The problem with these subs is that's lying. And I don't have the ability to, actually I do have the ability to do that right now if I really wanted to. I could pull that RCA out, push it into here, and let you hear what the frequency response is actually doing. All right, give me a second. Zeos goes always above, actually no, I didn't need to undo that. Redo that, redo, undo that, and then undo that. And then do that. And then do that. So now, what we're gonna have, I should unplug that speaker too. Yeah. Okay. So now, what we're gonna have is full range signal. What was being sent to these speakers is now being sent to this sub. So we're gonna turn it up all the way to 120 hertz. And we're gonna put on something that has decent vocals. I think postmodern jukebox. Okay. You could definitely hear the vocals. Now I'm gonna turn down the frequency crossover from 120 to 40. All the way down. That is doing a piss poor job of cutting off frequencies. I should not hear her singing at 40. That's 40. And that's, when you put it up, you could definitely hear there's more stuff. Turn it down, that's halfway. What happens when you do the crossover is you start getting less and less signal in general, and then there's still vocals in there, and it's like, something's wrong. Which is why it's all the way down, and I'm filtering with a mini DSP HD. I'm doing 2 ways of filtering. So that means if you are just, because one of the other ways you set one of these up is, let's say you were using powered monitors like this and you had a volume control, or what if you're using speakers? What you do is you take your DAC output, split your DAC, you get RCA splitters. If your DAC has 2 outputs, great. And you'd have one set go to the speakers and one set go down to the sub, full range. And then you would lower the crossover frequency. You'd figure out where your speakers end naturally on their own, because most speakers end like 60, 50. These are an exception where they go way low, but they shouldn't. But most normal speakers will go down 60, 50. Then you go behind the sub and you tell it to go all the way down and start like 60, 50, and there should be nothing above it. But there's so much above it. It would still work. It's just that you're gonna hear her singing out of there if you have this up enough. And then you have the problem of it just sucking away a lot of the power when you do that. Let's switch out now. Even though this is much prettier to look at. Wow, this is getting complicated. All right, I'm gonna put this here. Stay on the floor there. And now I'm gonna rewire my entire living room entirely. Let's see. This was the sub we just unplugged. We don't need that. That's left channel. Oh, it didn't do it. That's right channel. We are now going to switch to preset number 2, which the presets I have set. This is 6-inch sub and those. This is 8-inch sub and those. This is just those. And 4 was just subs. So if we do 4, you dusty girl. See, that's what should be coming out of it. Now this has got this, these both have the exact same problem where vocals come through, but because I'm using the mini DSP, I could literally say, fuck you, get out of here vocal track, and then, you know, quell it down. This is what the sub should be doing. And this is a great demonstration of what is happening. If I put this and the speakers back on, There's just the most gentle ba-boom, ba-boom. It's not a bass track. This is not a techno remix. This is just ba-boom, ba-boom. And that's all the sub should be doing, and that's what it's doing right now. But if you were leaving it to its own devices, you would still hear her singing in the background. So that's like the main flaw of these subs. If you can get around it, if you don't care, if it's fine, if the looks, and how many different colors do these come in? I think these come just in, yeah, black or white. Those are your two choices. When Kanto was like, hey, we want to send our subs, what colors do you want? I'm like, one of each. And I think the black one's just boring. That's, even though that's not as good, look at it. Look how fucking adorably cute that is. I love you, baby. I love it. It looks adorable. You, boring. If they would have gone with the gray, Kanto is the color company. Kanto is the company that if you go to like their speakers, like look at the, we've got teal and red. Oh God. We've got teal and red, and there's this matte gray that I can't get a fucking thing in matte gray. Everything's always out of stock when I ask. They've got not only different colors, but finishes, gloss or matte gray, gloss or matte white. Bamboo, black or white subs. So a little disappointment in that. I kind of would love to see a matte gray Sub8. And these are the only two sizes they have also. So the 6-inch, I think, honest to Christ, is just too small. And it's too expensive for a 6. This, again, here's the thing. We're talking about just a smidgen under $300. There are a lot of subwoofers you can purchase. A lot for under $300. Now, they're not going to be this pretty. And they're not going to match the brand name of your speakers, because these are designed specifically to be plugged into the Kanto speaker lines that have subwoofer outs. But I'm reviewing them on their own. I'm reviewing with a setup that I wanted to see them set up with. And you could do a hell of a lot for $300. If that was $150 and this was $250, but closing, edging to $300 is like, oh God. Oh God. No, it does its job. It's still an 8-inch sub. And if you can get past the problems with the back and how it just keeps getting quieter and quieter. Turn everything down, it gets quieter, turn everything up. And get rid of like the front that it was trying to deal with. It's a quality subwoofer. It's a musical subwoofer. It sounds good. But I can get you a 12-inch ported for $300. I got them in the trunk of my car. Actually, I was going to put those 10-inch with the side firing in the trunk of my car. It never happened. So I like that Kanto's selling these. I wish they were ported. I wish they didn't go with the more controllable musical aspect. It would require less power. These are not very powerful amplifiers. Did it even say the power? Hold on. I'm going to jump back to where I was. Powered subwoofers. I think they share the same panel. I'm pretty sure they don't have a different 250 watts. It's a weak 250 watts. If it's a 250 watts, it's watch the unboxing video. Is it mine? It's better be mine. No. Oh, Jesus. I've just channeled aliens into my system. Undo. Nothing scares away aliens like a Schaffelstein. Just saying. Wait for it. Also, right here where we're sitting and filming this is not the best scenario for this subwoofer. Here is not where it belongs. It belongs in the sweet spot, which, frankly, for this room, I think was in the middle of my desk over there. I haven't done this sub crawl in a while, mostly because I can't access the floor. There's too much shit on the floor. Everywhere. But, this is, like, it doesn't sound very good the way I'm listening to it. I'm still going to pause Schaffelstein because that's fun. But that belongs elsewhere. I think you could integrate these more of a style than performance. Now, I'm not that guy, almost ever. Well, I'm not going to say that. I have picked some things because the style is just too great, and I don't care how the performance is. But link to the head in the description, because it's the best headphone / hat stand / sunglasses stand you could ever buy. I think if you want the looks, if you get it in white, because that's the key. Now, keep in mind, SVS also sells white subwoofers, but I think they start at like $700 or $800. So you're still getting a deal if you get the 8-inch. I'm basically saying discount the 6. Just know the 8's where it's at. If you're getting one from Kanto, you got to deal with the fact that it's not going to cut off frequencies all the way down. So you either have to just ignore that, or put it in the perfect sweet spot far away. Maybe you won't pick up on it. But I am recommending highly. Here's the back of this, by the way, in case you were concerned about what the back looked like. It's the exact same. Power, inputs. You got a phase switch real quick, because I've done it 100 million times in every subwoofer review. Phase is on 0. When it goes boom, it goes boom. Phase 180, when it goes boom, it goes boom. And what that does is it changes when the waves of sound hit you. And depending on how far away it is, you either go from 0 or 180, and then it'll sound like it blends with the music better. That's really a thing, yes. On, auto, or off switch, and then here's your knobs, which are, by the way, some of the nicest feeling. Like they click every few degrees, they click in place. I had high hopes for these switches doing wonderful things, but it's basically, I don't know, max it out, control it there, and then put this down to 40 to try to quell as much of the fucking thing as possible, because it was just belching. It was just belching out bad frequencies. Okay, that's it for this review. I kind of want to see either an 8 or a 10 with port. Give me the port, damn it. Port it. Because then you could actually throw in some, like, low end. This is a good filler. This is filling things, but a lot of Kanto's speakers just... Well, actually, wait. Which ones were not ported? Am I hallucinating? Were they all ported? There was a set of speakers I reviewed recently that wasn't ported, and I was like, what the fuck? Oh, that was the Fluence. The Fluence 6-inch were, like, not ported, and I'm like, why you do this? Why you do this? And I guess those with this would have probably matched up nice, but you gotta... I want more out of a subwoofer than the $289 can provide out of this, but it is very, very pretty. So thank you, Kanto, for sending it out. I will get to the YU6s, which are in bamboo, by the way, in the other room, and very, very good. But the subs, a little underwhelming for what I'm into. But they are pretty. So, link to Mini DSP HD, which is the best thing ever. I just wish it had a volume knob, because you've got a user remote control. Any remote control will do. You just program the buttons in. And you get a FLIRC and a Mini DSP, and then you can control everything. You can go next track. You could pause it. You could switch it to just play speakers and no sub. Little surfer, little... Okay, I'm not singing. Wallpaper in the description. $2 tier gets access to every wallpaper I've ever used. There's over 900 of them. So if you ever wondered if you should be a patron of anyone, that's where you should start. It's a $2 tier. $5 tier gets you into the yard sales. Both these subwoofers will be in the yard sale. So even if I say they're not worth $289, get on the yard sale and you'd be like, I don't know, Zeos, how about $108.19? If you're in the continental United States, I ship for free. You pay exactly that amount and you've won. So that's worth $5 to try to win a subwoofer for cheap? Maybe. You also get to see all these videos about a week or more early. I had a buffer and it's going away, and I'm building another buffer. It's just, my life is up and down. The $10 Patreon tier gets you into a private Telegram chat with a bunch of other people who are crazy fans of mine, and they actually don't listen to me all the time, which is weird. Shouldn't you like respect my opinion? Stop posting expensive cables and magic rocks, you bastards. And then there's higher tiers and the $10 tier, and I'm not going to tell you what those do because I don't know. But they pay me more, so look into them. That's it. I think we're good. I'll see you tomorrow for another review that's less black or cute and white. Oh, look at the cute white. Oh, cute white. Oh.